listen, I wanted to go sell things on Amazon. I wanted to go sell waist trainers on Amazon, okay? I went from that to actually feeling like I wanted to become a physician again. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adun Alurin and I'm a 4th year medical student studying at the University of the West Indies. If you are new to my channel, I just want to say welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really appreciate it, and I hope that by the end of this video I can convince you to stick around and become a part of my small but growing family here on YouTube. So in January 2019, I left medical school with no intention of ever returning. I told my dean and my friends and my classmates and some of my family that I just needed a break, but at the time in my mind I felt that I needed much more than a break. I actually felt that I needed to leave medical school for good. So basically I had about maybe a 5 to 10% chance or intention of returning to med school. I sold all my clothes, I threw away my notes, I gave away my textbooks, I even had a going away party. Like, I was done. I was pretty sure that I wasn't ever gonna go back. I went from someone who was burnt out, depressed, and I mean literally completely over medicine to a person that returned to medical school feeling refreshed and full of purpose. My hope is that this video either helps you get to a similar place that I was able to get to, or at least give you some clarity and some peace if it is that you are truly interested in moving on from medical school. So without further ado, let's get started. So one of the things that I was definitely experiencing, and that you may be experiencing right now, because it's pretty common among med students, I think it's pretty common in general, but it's burnout. So what is burnout exactly? So burnout is defined as an emotional, mental, or physical exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. So for me, in my 2nd year, I actually had a little business called Shop Essentials 828. And it kept me pretty busy. My entire 2nd year I wasn't even able to go to class because my business hours ran through school hours. I would get up at 9 in the morning or 8 in the morning, and I would have to either go on the road, run some errands, do some pickups, and then I would have to do drop-offs and deliveries. But girl, I thought I was so clever. So what I did in my 1st semester 2nd year was that I would close my shop or put it on what I called a hiatus, like at the beginning of final season. So I would give myself time to still like cram and study for finals. So 1st semester 2nd year was smooth. I couldn't complain. I felt like, I had cracked the code. I had my business, but I was still able to pass all my classes. So I was like, we got to take this into the 2nd semester and do the same thing. It's foolproof. Unfortunately, when I was about to do that in 2nd semester, I got the news of the passing of my cousin Rashid. For me, that was rough. I ended up basically just sitting in my room for like 2 weeks, just frozen. So the time that I would have usually used to like cram and catch up for all the missed work, I was just sitting in my bed. I remember like my friends and my classmates reaching out to me, telling me that I should apply for bereavement leave at this point, but it was a hassle and I decided not to. So I ended up basically having to cram as I was mourning, and I also had to like fly home, study during like all the funeral stuff, all the events with my family and stuff. I would like leave and go study or study in my hotel room, and it was just a mess. So I flew back to Jamaica. Like the next day I had my finals. I had like Neuro 2 something, I don't remember, and I just had to go in and do it, and I was able to pass, but I was tired, you know. Then we got a 2-week break and we went straight into year 3. Our third year, first semester, I was just kind of like chilling. I was handling it very passively, not really interested or going to class or anything. But by second semester, we had clinicals, you had to be in the hospital, you got to be present. Child, I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to being present every day. So by third year, second semester, I was basically like running on fumes. Now, you do not have to experience a loss like I did to wind up being burnt out. I mean, med school in itself, to me, is a recipe for burnout. You have the long nights, you have the constant disappointments, you're studying as hard as you can, but you're still failing. You're studying as hard as you can, but you're still getting call a dunce on board rounds by your residents, your consultants, the nurses. I mean, you're just getting mashed down left, right, and center. You're away from your friends, you're away from your family. It's just a recipe for getting to that point where you're exhausted. And the thing is about burnout is that it's not just physical exhaustion. It spills over to your mental, your emotional, even your spiritual. And that spilling over leads to depression-like symptoms that we know in and of itself is extremely debilitating. So you're already feeling exhausted, but then you have the depression symptoms like feelings of impending doom. You could sprinkle in some anxiety in there. There's a lack of desire to do anything. All the things that previously used to make you feel happy, they don't do that anymore. You're feeling hopeless, you're feeling helpless. Burnout eventually just becomes like a conglomerate of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual just overwhelm. I was burnt out to a point where even when I wasn't physically tired, like my body was physically able to do something, mentally and emotionally I wasn't able. So I remember some mornings where I would wake up, shower like normal, get dressed like normal, put on my white coat, attach my pin, attach my ID, pack my bag, pack my lunch bag, and then I would just look out the window, girl, look for the bus and just watch the bus pass and leave me. Because where I lived, I could look and see the bus that would take us to the hospital, right? And I would just look through the window and just wait for it to drive past, and then I get undressed and I sit in my room for the rest of the day. And then even the days when I was able to actually get on the bus, I felt like I was expending extra energy, putting on like this cloak or this mask of pleasantries. And I'm sure many of you will be able to relate to this. You don't feel comfortable wearing your insecurities or your problems or your emotions on your sleeves, right? So I'm going through all of this, but I'm like going on the bus, good morning, ain't nobody answering. So now I'm mad. I then tired. I used literally the last bit of energy in me to put on that smile and to be able to say good morning. And I mean, I get nothing for it. So that was exhausting in and of itself. Just having to put on that cloak to present myself to people was getting extremely tiring. But there are so many signs and symptoms, if you may, of burnout that I think burnout in itself could be an entire YouTube channel. So I'm gonna link some resources below, and I suggest looking into it, especially if you're feeling burnt out right now. To me, the only thing that could cure my burnout was first realizing that I actually could take a break. If I took a break, the world was not going to end. Let me say it louder for everyone who might be sitting to the back of the church. All right? You could take a break. It took me a long time to realize that I could leave and who was gonna check me? You understand? I called my mommy, I called my daddy, and I ran the play. All right, baby? I said, okay, listen. This thing's stressing me out. I started to feel a particular type of way. This is what I'm experiencing right now, and I'm about to leave. You know, either you could come help me pack or not, because at the end of the day, I'm leaving. You know, I hit my mommy with the ultimatum straight up, and probably within the next 2 days. I don't mean to laugh, but she was on a flight. She was on that flight from Miami to Kingston, and she had 2 big black duffel bags to pack up her child, because she knows that if I was able to get to the point where I was done, then it must have been pretty serious. So after I realized that I could actually take a break, the second thing was actually taking that break. I think those 2 things were the only things I could have done to cure my burnout, so to speak. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of us don't have the luxuries of just leaving the thing that is burning us out. Say for instance, if your job is burning you out, but you don't have the option to quit right now, or parenting is burning you out, I'm sorry, but you can't get rid of your kids, you know. But if you are a student, your school should have something in place for people like you that need some time off. At the UE, you are able to take a leave of absence for up to 1 year. I'm not sure if you can take multiple leaves of absences, but look into it and see if you'd be able to take some time off to rest and rehabilitate yourself. Now, when it comes to burnout, one of the things that I experienced that you might be experiencing right now is a whole lot of resentment. I got to a point where I literally resented medicine. I resented medicine for not allowing me to grieve properly the loss of my cousin. I resented med for allowing me or causing me to feel tired all the time. I resented medicine for where I felt I was in life, you know, but more specifically where I felt like I wasn't as compared to where I thought I should have been at that point. And I resented medicine for lacking what I thought I should have acquired at this point. So you have all that resentment for medicine going on, and basically what that did was set the stage for me to start comparing my life to the lives of others. So this might be something you're experiencing right now. Then you start with the YouTube and the Instagram. Everybody is living in their purpose and traveling and blogging and vlogging, and I mean, life is just good out there. And I remember thinking to myself, people are enjoying their lives. Is that something I can experience as well if I weren't in medicine? What I started to do was look around and try to see if I were to place myself in a different place or a different lifestyle or a different career path, if I would be able to correct what I was experiencing. And if this is something that you're doing right now, I actually don't blame you for that. I don't blame myself for that. As a human being, if you put your hand on a hot stove and it starts to burn, you are going to remove your hand, or you're going to try to figure out a way to relieve this pain that you're experiencing. I say that to say, don't beat yourself up for looking for ways out of the pain or the misery that you're experiencing right now. However, I would say to be extremely careful and not to go looking for your solution through Instagram or something and wondering if you yourself should drop out of med school and start blogging full time. And this ain't shade, because I literally did that. I literally left school and I started a blog and I hated it. I was always a writer. I still write, I still journal, but blogging in itself was not for me in that season. Even though through that process I was able to find vlogging and YouTubing, which I really love, blogging and what I was trying to go toward, like taking pictures in the house just to make content for my Instagram and try to make it look glitzy and glammy. That is just not me. I'm sure if you watch enough of my videos, you would see that. I mean, I'm just not really that, you know. If you go on my Instagram or something, it's not going to be aesthetically pleasing or anything like that. That's just not really my vibe. And all of that brings me to warn you that if you are in a position of resentment and exhaustion, there's always going to be something in your head telling you, hey girl, you should be doing this instead, you should be doing that instead. But be careful and take your time discerning that suggestion. Is this a legitimate suggestion that is going to be a part of my purpose in life? Or is this suggestion just a result of my discontentment and resentment toward medicine? Because the latter is just going to produce temporary desires that you might end up just wasting time on and realizing later that you weren't meant to be doing those things in the first place. During my time off, it literally took me about 6 months to decide if I wanted to go back to med school. Literally every morning I woke up and I tried to figure out what I should be doing instead. I looked into psychology degrees instead. I looked into business programs. I started going to therapy to see if that would help me kind of work through some things in my head. And I was also still in contact with my counselor from UWI, who basically helped me get through some things in my head as well. I spent months by myself, like literally by myself, just me in the house. And I would wake up and go on long walks, like 2-hour walks, where I would just think. It was literally an active search toward a solution. Should I go back to med school or should I not? Now, I'm not saying that it took all of that, because none of that really got me to figuring out if I should go back or not. For me, the only thing that really helped me get to that final conclusion was going to God about it. I asked God what he wanted me to do, and I basically fasted and prayed until I got the answer. And I wasn't satisfied with just the answer alone, because as you know, I didn't want to go back to med school. I didn't have that desire anymore. So I made very clear to him, I said, well, God, you know, if it is that you want me to go back to med school, I am also asking you to give me the desire to go back. Within about 2 to 3 weeks of fasting and praying, I found myself like putting on my white coat again, looking at my stethoscope again, looking at my notes again. Listen, I wanted to go sell things on Amazon. I wanted to go sell waist trainers on Amazon, okay? I went from that to actually feeling like I wanted to become a physician again. Now, I can't tell you if you should leave medicine for good or not, but what I can say that for me, I felt that God wouldn't put the desire to pursue medicine on my heart for no reason, and I'm actually pretty confident that he didn't put it on your heart for no reason either. Now, everyone's situation is completely different. Maybe it is that you're only supposed to be in med school for a short time and then go on to use that knowledge for something else that God has purposed you for. You never know, but you will never find out unless you seek him and allow him to reveal his purpose over your life little by little. I hope this video wasn't too long, but I have a nagging feeling that it was. But if you managed to watch this far, you might as well hit that subscribe button and be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified each and every single time I post. But thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video helped you, if even just a little bit. And if it has, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and comment down below. Also, feel free to leave a comment if you feel like you have some advice that you can share, or maybe you went through a similar experience. Just share down below some of the things that help you get through that. And of course, share this video so that someone you know would be able to benefit from this information as well. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.